Okay, today we're going to be doing 2-point perspective, which is a little bit different from 1-point perspective in that we have 2 vanishing points this time. So I've got my supplies here, pencil, straight edge, and my paper. First thing I'm going to do is take my paper, bring up the bottom, and fold it up at the top. This folded line is going to become our horizon line. Unfold your paper. So now that folded part of my paper is now going to be my horizon line. And this time I'm going to put a vanishing point at either end of my horizon line. I'm going to put a dot over on this side of the paper and one on the opposite end of the paper. Now I'm not going to draw my horizon line in because then I'll have to erase a lot of it later on. So I'll wait till the end. But the folded line there helps me for drawing my building. I'm going to take my straight edge and somewhere in the middle, it doesn't have to be exactly, but just somewhere in the middle, I'm going to make a vertical line, or it's a line that goes up and down, on my paper. I'm not going to go all the way to the top, and I am not going to go all the way to the bottom. But I am going to make sure that I cross over the horizon line on my paper, the folded line. So I just draw a line from up and down. This is going to become one corner of my building. Now I'm going to take my straight edge, I'm going to put it at the bottom of the line, and the other end of my straight edge right up to one of my vanishing points. I'm going to hold it very tightly. I don't want this to move while I'm tracing my lines. Now, just to help you guys out, I'm going to make my guidelines with my green pen so you can see later on what I need and what I don't need. I'm going to take the bottom of this line and I'm now going to line it up to the other vanishing point like this. Again, draw my guideline. Now part of this line will be erased later on. I'm drawing it with green though so you can see how everything lines up to the vanishing points. Now I'm going to go up to the top of the line and do the same thing. One end of the straight edge at the top of the line and the other end right up to the vanishing point. Double check, sometimes it moves a little, and draw my line. And then again to the other vanishing point. Top of the line to the vanishing point. Make sure nothing's moving, hold it nice and tight, and trace. So a couple of rules with 2-point perspective, which are very similar to the rules in 1-point perspective. You must use a straight edge. Otherwise your objects in your pictures will not line up properly to the vanishing point. It also helps make that nice, clean, sharp line when you're drawing buildings. And 2, everything must line up to the vanishing points. Everything. Okay, so now we've got our building started. I'm going to take my straight edge and once again put it up to that point, that line in the middle, and I'm going to pull it out. Now I like to line it up so I can sort of eyeball and make sure that when I'm pulling it away, my line is staying straight. I'm going to decide how big I want this building to be. Wherever I decide to stop, I'm going to make another vertical line only in between those guidelines. Do not go above them and do not go below them. Stay inside the guidelines. So this is going to be one building. I'm going to trace over this part. This is one side of the building. Trace it right here so you can see. I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to line up my straight edge, do that original vertical line, pull it out. Now if I only pull it out a little bit, maybe this building is a very narrow building on one side. If I pull it out a little farther, it's a bigger building. We're going to make a cartoon building today, a house for a mouse, Swiss cheese hotel, whatever you want it to be. So I'm going to make my other end of the building only in between the two guidelines. Do not go outside of those lines. Okay? Now you should have this really cool 3D looking cube starting. Here we go. Now, normally, I would erase the rest of this green line and the rest of this green line. And I would also erase the rest of this green line and the rest of this green line between the end of the building and the vanishing point. All of this would go. I'm leaving them in so you could see them. Now we are ready to embellish our building. So remember I said a Swiss cheese hotel? This is going to be a home or a hotel or even a resort for fancy rodents. So Swiss cheese is full of holes, right? And I'm going to make my doorway first by making a line like an upside down letter U, up, arched at the top, and around the other side. There's a doorway. I want to make this look a little more 3D, so I'm going to come up, back up to the top, and since this door is on the right side of the building, I'm going to double the right side of the doorway. So I'm just simply going to trace the line, follow along down to the bottom. So notice I curve it here and straighten it out here. When I get to the bottom, I'm going to cut it in with a little line like that. Now I've got some 3D effects starting. I can make a doorway on this side too. On the left side, I would just do the same thing, up, arch over the top, and around on the other side. However, when I double the thickness on this doorway, because this doorway is on the left side, I'm going to double the doorway on the left side. Make a double line on the left side. Follow the original line, and when I get to the bottom, cut it in like that. Now I can shade this in a little. Add some shadows in here. Really push that 3D effect, right? Smudge it with your finger if you want. Right? And I could do the same on this side. Sorry, lefty. Smudge it a bit. Alright, now let's add some windows. Swiss cheese windows are round. Add a couple of circles. I can even put a couple of half circles around the edges. And if I do that, then I'm going to erase the straight edge of the building. Now it's looking like Swiss cheese. I can do the same on this side. Some half circles around the edges. I would erase this. And since I drew this with pen, I'm going to use my handy dandy whiteout tape for that, so you really see that effect. Normally I would not use whiteout tape, but just so you can see the effect. And some circles for windows. Not too many, don't go crazy, don't make teeny tiny ones. 4 or 5 on each side is plenty. Now just like the doorways, the windows are going to have some double lines inside to show thickness too. So the windows that are on the right side of the picture are going to be doubled on the right side. And so it's almost like a little crescent moon inside. Start at the top and just make a curved line inside like that. Follow the right side of the circle. And if I shade in the rest of it, voila! A window for Le Swiss Cheese Resort. And I do the same on all the windows on this side. Curved line on the right side. Now the windows on the left side are going to get the opposite. They're going to get doubled on the left side. curved line from the top to the bottom, following the left side of the circle. So it's almost like a crescent moon. You see that crescent moon shape in here? Curved line, curved line. All right. Now, you can add other details to your pictures. You're going to shade in the rest of your windows, right? And one last thing I'm going to do is add a sidewalk. So I'm going to go back to my vanishing points now, because my vanishing points need to be used to make the sidewalks. So I'm going to put one end of the straight edge at the vanishing point and the other edge below the building and draw a line down. Okay, keep this end on the vanishing point, and then I'm going to swing this side over a little bit so it looks like a long skinny triangle, and draw a second line. Okay, now I could have this run off the paper, or I can connect it to this side and make this like a corner. So I would connect this end to the vanishing point and draw a line, and then keep this end near the vanishing point in place and just swing the other end down and go right off the paper. Now I have a street corner. You know, I want to make it look like a sidewalk, just cut some lines in there. A couple of lines, not too many. And it starts to look like a sidewalk. I can add a pathway. I can make it a welcome sign. I can add other details, including now adding my horizon line. So I'm going to use my straight edge, line it up on your folded line, just to help you draw that straight line if you want. Or you can just trace it, because you know the ground isn't perfectly straight, right? I can add some mountains in the background if I want. Or I could add some trees. I can add a little mouse. Teardrop shape. Teardrop shape on its side. Little nice round ears. Little nose. Little eyes. Since it's a cartoon, stick arms are fine. So are feet. Don't forget the tail. And a couple of whiskers. So you can add other details to your picture now. You can color it in. You can make this into a whole resort. Put a sign on here. Les Suisses Hotel. Okay, you could add a pool, whatever you want, some clouds in the sky. And when you're all done, you're going to submit your picture to me in Schoology. Okay, hope this helps. See you soon.